Alright, what's going on, guys? Hunter back today. It is Christmas time. I went to the wrong side there for a second. That was funny. Today I'm going to be talking about how meditation has helped me get over my video game addiction and my social media addiction as well. A little bit of context, I learned to play video games before I was 5 years old. I picked up Super Mario 64, and it was really hard for me to ever imagine a world where I wasn't coming home excited to play games. I specifically remember this one instance when I was like, I think about 9, and I started to realize that effective adults don't play video games for the majority of their life. And I remember crying for about a week straight at that realization that I couldn't just sit there and play video games and expect my life to work out somehow. So, yeah, that's basically my story. I'm 23 now, and I first really put my foot down deciding that I wanted to choose my habits rather than have my habits be chosen for me by billion-dollar, industries. Um, I was 17 when I looked at my brothers and I looked at my mom and just decided I didn't want to be a slave to television or monitors. Um, the thing is these are really ingrained habits. You don't just get used to doing something every day, you know? And when you do something every day, you think it's your identity, especially when you've done it for a long enough time. The thing that's interesting about games, in my experience, is they supplement actual experience. When you're a kid and you learn how much fun it is to run and jump around in a game, part of you doesn't want to get strong in real life and work on yourself. Because it's a lot easier to go hop in that virtual world and get that sort of dopamine release. It's scary nowadays for a lot of kids. We're forced into these virtual worlds that are more exciting than the actual world by design. And these companies are more than satisfied with taking the majority of a young person's life. Some of the most effective learning years that someone can have. If you're 10 or 11 watching this, you ought to really consider what kind of person you want to be at 15. Or if you're 22, who do you want to be in 10 years? If you can actually think in terms of decades, you become a dangerous individual. First Man said this, and he's so right. If you can actually consider your future, that's the difference between most guys and the successful guys. Like, the successful guys plan it. They see it preemptively. They get a dopamine release at the idea of imagining the correct avenue. That's how dopamine works. A lot of people think dopamine is just given to you all the time whenever something good happens. The way dopamine works, based on my understanding, dopamine will be released when you're going somewhere you're genuinely excited to be. So if you're going to go see a friend you haven't seen in a long time, or if you're going to go see a girl that you have a big crush on, you'll get a little sense of satisfaction, When your body doesn't have this sort of like fuel to motivate you, because we're all a combination of neurotransmitters. Everything that you are is a result of your neurotransmitters. You can try and pretend that you're something else, but all of your thoughts and impulses are the result of these little chemical, releases and responses that are going on inside of our cranium at any given point in time. That's what dictates all of our actions, all of our motivations. It's even the driving force behind your thoughts. So when you get your dopamine release from something that's synthetic and not based in reality, it's a bit like doing actual drugs in the sense that you're faking the release. Your body isn't actually experiencing what it's perceiving itself as experiencing. And you're giving yourself the lowest amount of possible effort that you could put in to feel those feelings. Now, I don't want to sit here and talk about whether or not games are a good thing or not. To be honest with you, I think games are a beautiful invention. I think virtual world is a fucking great idea. And the experiences I've had with games, some of them are really precious. But I don't want to be one of those YouTubers that tries to pretend that it's all in or all out. The harsh reality is, if you need to take a break, you know you need to take a break. If you feel like you would develop different habits, you ought to experiment. Nobody's ever looked back and thought, I should have played more fucking video games. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever looked back and been like, damn, I should have consumed way more fucking television. Nobody, in 20 years' time, what are you going to look back and be proud that you decided to do today? What are you going to look back and be shocked that you were able to make that clear-minded of a decision? That's where meditation comes in. Meditation is you reestablishing control over your thoughts and impulses. We live in a time where these social media companies want you to wake up, turn over, look at your phone, and never stop looking at it for the entirety of the day. It's the same with these game companies. They want your thoughts and time from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. Obviously, with some game companies, they aren't thinking about it as egregiously as this, but the ones that are genuinely problematic, the big fighters in this industry, that's their whole game plan. They're just looking for user retention, people to keep coming back. If you look at mobile games nowadays, it's fucking scary. That shit's designed for kids to make in-app purchases and steal from their parents. You know what I mean? It's not really like... None of this shit is designed with the user in mind. You're a platform for them to make money. And if you don't think of that, and you don't view yourself as that, you're doing yourself a disservice. A lot of these people pretend that they're entertained by games when it's really just a habit that you do as a coping mechanism. And you wouldn't need to cope if you didn't have unhealthy thoughts. It becomes a cyclical, meaning circular, cycle, where these people will wake up, feel bad, physically bad, because they either didn't eat right, or, they ate too much before bed, or they slept in an unhealthy position. Oftentimes we don't wake up feeling amazing. We'll be groggy in the morning and feel shitty. It's a normal human response. We very much so love to be in sleep all the time. So, assuming that you wake up and you didn't have perfect sleep because, let's just go with the context of what makes sense. Blue light from the night before, let's say you're playing games. You wake up, you feel bad. Your body's going to immediately crave the thing that's going to pull you out of the bad feeling. That's going to be the escapism. What's going to make you enter a flow state that's going to help you get away from this pain that you're feeling? The thing is unless you start to reprogram your brain, unless you start to add in things like exercise, cooking for yourself, things like simple shit, man, like reading, unless you add those things in, your brain is going to crave the lessons that you would get out of those experiences elsewhere, right? So when I was a kid and I played a lot of video games, my dad wasn't really much of a present person in the picture. Had a bit of a rough childhood. And so to supplement kind of a lack of father figure and a lack of healthy masculine energy, I binged tons of video games when I was a kid. And I tried so hard to look for role models. Now that I look back, it kind of breaks my heart. I started to speak with an Italian accent for a while after I played Assassin's Creed 2 because I wanted to be Ezio so badly, you know? And I wanted to pick up all of these people's habits so badly. I wanted to be James Bond when I was a kid, you know? I thought I was Bruce Wayne, you know? Like, and there's nothing wrong with self assimilating when you're a kid. The danger is these medias don't want you to recognize what you're doing, and they want your time and money. It's always been their priority, you know? So, if you have the ability to slow down your perception and don't just go into what feels normal and natural, if you want to make the change and you want to be more deliberate with your day to day, meditation really can be the secret sauce here that gets you across that line. Coping mechanisms are hard to break, but once you recognize that you want to change it, if you can add in meditation, it'll make it significantly easier. Meditation helped me quit nicotine, helped me quit pot, helped me quit fucking a lot of stuff. It's really important that you recognize the power in your own thoughts. Because if you don't, somebody else is gonna take advantage of that. And either put you in a job where you're gonna have bad thoughts at that job, and you already have bad thoughts, so they'll just keep you there. Or they'll sell you an escapism that, you know, well, it'll help you deal with your bad thoughts, but it'll also create more of them. It'll become a habit that you don't respect yourself for, and you don't share with the people that you want to. If you can't tell a girl about your habit, you should drop it. Like, if you can't confidently tell a girl, hey, I like to play games, it's a problem for you. Do you know what I mean? It's something that you've deliberately blocked out in your mind so you wouldn't have to share. This is coming from somebody who's revamped their habits year after year. Games are hard to put down. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna say that I haven't had instances where I've, you know, picked this shit back up again. And a new game comes out. It's hard to not. But